Hey guys, it's Chris, and today I will be showcasing my favorite Tokiko build for Taima 5 VR. It's a strong build and I don't see too many people talking about it. So this is the build and strategy. We have Tokiko, our tank, debuffer, and healer, and then we have two strong DPS characters. In this case I chose Eleonor and Astaroth. These two do a lot of DPS and are good at dealing with the ads, or the non-boss enemies, whatever you want to call them. For Tokiko, starting with weapons, we are using an SR weapon for step 100. This is the mechanical dart knife. This is the MVP of the build. Every time you do a basic attack, it puts a 40% defense down on the enemy's hit for 10 seconds, and you can keep refreshing this debuff just by repeatedly hitting enemies with basic attacks. We are using HP Magatamas because Tokiko will be tanking the boss. My HP Magatamas aren't perfect, but this is okay for now. This is the sub weapon, it's S4 plus 15 with HP Magatamas. For skills, I am using Magpie so you can land your basic attacks on multiple enemies, Blast for a 30% defense down, and Evil Eye Clairvoyance for a 75% defense down. For supporters, we are going green build. I have Phantasma in the main. Mine is only S1, but that's okay because we are only using Phantasma for the main passive, which is increase ally damage by 12% towards enemies with debuffs. For the second supporter, I have Misaki here, but you can swap her out for other supporters since Tokiko herself won't do that much damage on this build. Hisui is a good one to be more tanky, or you can use the new Murasaki we just got, or the Founding 3 if you're a whale, White Knight Asagi, Holy Knight Rinko, Character Release Kirara, or even Occult Emily for more HP. I don't feel like I need to be more tanky, so I just put Misaki here for damage. And the third supporter is another MVP, and that is Yachio. With this supporter, Tokiko can be a decent healer. It's not as good as Lapis or Felicia, but it's good enough as I'll show you in the gameplay. What makes this build so strong is we have a 40% defense down with Dart Knife, plus a 30% defense down with Blast, and then a 75% defense down with Evil Eye Clairvoyance. In total, that's a 145% defense down on the enemies, which is the strongest set of defense downs you can get from one character in the entire game. And yes, these three debuffs stack with each other. Now if you want to get technical, Dart Knife increases the damage dealt to enemies by 40%, so it's actually a 105% defense down, plus a 40% damage increase to enemies. But the funny thing is, this debuff has the same symbol as a defense down, so for simplicity I'm just going to call it a 40% defense down, but just keep that in mind. Once we get into the gameplay, I'll show you just how strong Tokiko is as a debuffer now with this quote-unquote 145% defense down. Now for Eleanor. For weapons, we're using Treasure of the Deep Ocean for a 30% damage increase to enemies with debuffs. The synergy is clear here. Tokiko will always have a 40% defense down on the enemies because of her Dart Knife. This allows Eleanor to really take advantage of this weapon. Mine is S5 plus 15, and I gave her Anti-Demon Ice Magatamas because your AI teammates don't like to dodge enemy attacks for whatever reason. This is the sub-weapon, it's S5 plus 15 with Attack Magatamas. For skills, I'm using Geyser Burst to deal with ads, Maelstrom to do a lot of damage and deal with ads, and Feral Spirit for a nice 20% speed increase. For supporters, New Year's Felicia of course, incredibly strong for assist type characters, Blackbeard Kirara, mine is only S2 because I got 2 copies out of the exchange facility, and Onigumo because we're fighting Spider Queen. For Astaroth, Undying Apophis, arguably her best weapon for VR, mine is S5 plus 15 with Anti-Demon Fire Magatamas. This is the sub-weapon S5 plus 15 with Attack Magatamas. For skills, Fire Blast, Serpent Blaze for the ads, and Supernova for huge damage. For supporters, Blackbeard Kirara, this is my S5 copy, Hebiko, S4, and the second Onigumo that we got from the event this month, at the time of recording this video. For supporter formations, I'm using the Holy Knight Negotiators, because all 3 of our party members only do ranged attacks. So now for the actual gameplay. I'll be doing commentary on pre-recorded gameplay so we can compare clips and I can showcase just how strong this build is. So our strategy is to pilot Tokiko so we can tank the boss. Our goal is to use Taimanin our Blast and Evil Eye Clairvoyance on cooldown. And it's okay if we get the Spider Queen damage over time dot here, because we have Yachio. If this is a problem for you, use Hisui instead of Misaki for your second supporter. That way you can be more tanky. and there's a Spider Queen attack, we land our Evil Eye Clairvoyance. So every time Spider Queen does an attack, we always land Evil Eye Clairvoyance. The only time you don't is if Evil Eye Clairvoyance is on cooldown. And of course, yes, we use Blossom cooldown. Here we can tank another dot, no problem. Evil Eye Clairvoyance, yes, because Spider Queen did an attack. And then, yeah, we just keep landing our basic attacks. Taimanin Blossom cooldown, yes. So here, unfortunately, Eleonor takes a hit. We weren't staying very close to the boss. We weren't doing a good job at tanking. But for the most part, this is totally fine. Again, Yachio will heal up Eleonor eventually. Another Evil Eye Clairvoyance, it's okay if we take the dot. And yeah, that's pretty much our strategy. Okay, I can see Eleonor and Astaroth both got their ultis. Another Evil Eye Clairvoyance. And then now Eleanor's ulti. Okay. And that's the fight. So if we have a look, our clear time for this is 1 minute and 20 seconds. And this is, yes, step 100. And this is with no 4th skill slot and no VR scrolls. One thing I wanted to point out here is how strong blue build Eleonor is. A lot of people know that Astaroth does a lot of damage, which is why she is a very popular choice for step 100 plus VR clears. But what a lot of people don't know is how strong blue build Eleonor is. Eleonor can be just as strong as Astaroth if you have the right build. In this case, Eleonor did more DPS than Astaroth, and Eleonor has an S2 Blackbeard Kirara, and Astaroth has an S5 Blackbeard Kirara. That's how strong Eleonor is. So again, blue build Eleonor, super underrated. In this second clip, I wanted to compare the Tokiko build with my regular strategy. If you have seen any of my previous videos, then you'd know this is my favorite VR team of all time. Oboro, Shizuru, and Astaroth, or Oboro, Phantasma, and Astaroth. So to compare strategies, I did a run with my regular team here. I tried to choose a run where the stage debuffs were similar to the Tokiko run. These stage debuffs are not exactly the same, but they're somewhat similar. And so this gameplay here is standard red build Oboro gameplay. We open with Wicked Slasher to put mind control on the boss. Every time Spider Queen does an attack, we use Hypnosis Seal to again mind control the boss and prevent any damage to Shizuru. If Hypnosis Seal is on cooldown, then we use Wicked Slasher instead, and we cycle between the two to keep the boss under mind control as much as possible. Ideally, we use Carnage Dance immediately after landing Wicked Slasher or Hypnosis Seal, so that way we don't take a hit from the boss while we are stuck in the Carnage Dance animation lock. Anyway, I'll upload this gameplay to YouTube so you can watch the entire clip. But if I skip ahead, then you'll see that we do clear, and our clear time is 1 minute and 17 seconds. Yeah, step 100, 1 minute 17. So with all these runs, again, they were done with no 4th skill slot and no VR scrolls. So Oboro, Shizuru, and Astaroth are still a better team from my experience. Mind control makes the run a lot smoother and more consistent. And if we have a look at the damage here, so you can see that Oboro did 9 million damage, more than Astaroth. So part of that is due to Shizuru's limited weapon, in addition to Rose Rondo, but that just goes to show you how strong Oboro is. Not only does she have mind control, but she can also do a lot of DPS. In this last clip, I'm going to show you a step 100 Spider Queen clear, with the Tokiko build and terrible stage debuffs. The build here is the same as the first clip. So as you can see, we have some of the worst debuffs you can get in VR. Many people would see these debuffs and immediately quit out. We have boss damage and HP increased. This one doesn't matter as much as long as you don't get hit. Then this one matters a lot. This is skill damage down. And then we have assist type character damage down, protect type character damage down, and suppress type character damage down. So a lot of damage reductions, and the boss has more HP. But in this clip I'll show you just how strong this build is, and spoiler alert, we still clear, even with this combination of stage debuffs. In terms of gameplay and strategy, it is exactly the same as what I've explained in the first clip. Again, I'll upload this video to YouTube so you can watch the entire fight. But if I skip ahead, yeah, we do clear. Okay, so step 100, we got a clear time of 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So close to reaching the 3-minute mark, but we still beat the DPS check. And then here what I'm showing is Eleonor again did more damage than Astaroth. 9 million damage more. That's a lot of damage. It's not just over 9,000, it's over 9 million. And then after this, I go and show the builds. So, okay, I'm gonna end it here. But before I end the video, I want to say thank you to Crushingon. Crushingon is another Action Taimanin YouTuber. On his channel, he has some really good videos about Action Taimanin and Step 100 VR that are still relevant to this day. His videos are worth checking out if you're looking to improve at this game. In fact, it was Crushingon who told me about the SR weapon Dart Knife and how good it is. I don't play Tokiko very much, but after hearing about how good the Dart Knife was, I wanted to try it and I came up with my own builds. He also helped optimize this Tokiko green build, so again, a huge thank you to Crushingon. And that is it for the video. If you like this, take 2 seconds to hit that like button. If you want to see more content from me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.